Bad week to be an assistant coach in international rugby, isn't it? We've had our second person leaving their position, but Razor and Leon Macdonald couldn't get on. This is Felix Jones quitting. He has left his role as England's assistant coach, also the mastermind of the defensive system, which was starting to bear fruit in an evolving England team, which were getting stronger and stronger. And you felt like we're tracking to be competing at the very highest level come the next Rugby World Cup, if not sooner. Felix Jones going is a massive gut punch to Steve Borthwick and the England squad. What are the reasons? What are the ramifications? What's he going to do next? All questions that I'm going to tackle on this video. Thank you for watching. I'm Tim and this is Egg Chasers. Please give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. And I'll tell you what, before I get into all of those areas that I said I was going to touch on, what I want to do is just show you a little edited compilation of Felix Jones during that 2023 Rugby World Cup campaign with South Africa, taken from the Chasing the Sun 2 documentary series. He's an impressive man.
You're going to encourage the carrier, and as soon as he gets his knee down, you're literally going to practice knee down, sir, knee down, his knees down, place it, place it, place it.
Common way of doing it is 5 forwards and 3 backs. There's a huge risk to it.
Okay, they're not conditioned to go beyond 40, 50 minutes. So what you're saying, Stock, is the same approach of get there, get the ball out, Vinny, pull it out. We want to get them to this 50-minute mark by 30 minutes in the first half.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so I found all this stuff last night. Went down a rabbit hole on YouTube. Okay, so the big thing is the ruck, lads. When DuPont gets the ball, he's strong. Treat it like a full-on fight. Obviously you can't hit him in the face, but it's a full-on fight when DuPont gets the ball. If I could sum up this soul in 2 words, it's statistics or Moneyball and kicking game. That is it. That is their big thing.
Like, I'm thinking the last time we did it, Ireland, we actually think now, I remember how many points we left on the field, and that was a 7-1, and then the other 7-1 was New Zealand, and we gave them the biggest beating in the history of rugby.
15 to 20 breakdowns and you're a fucking World Cup champion. 15 to 20 accurate, clean, urgent, instant breakdowns, and we will control the rest of this game.
You just feel a part of something that you can't replicate or probably won't, get too many opportunities in your lifetime again to feel, so can't really put it into words. It's hard.
You got a glimpse there, didn't you, of why he's regarded as one of the very best in the world, an elite talent who will not be short of offers, but he will not be fulfilling his role with England. And we don't know the reason why. Apparently this happened last week. He left his post. Nothing has been said officially by any party other than just the obvious, he's left, etc. But the quote from the Times newspaper, Alex Lowe was the journalist who covered this. So this isn't coming directly from the horse's mouth, but Alex Jones is good. Alex Lowe is a very good journalist. So I think there's probably some credence to this. The quote here is, sources close to Jones say the Irishman became unhappy with an unstable working environment and informed Borthwick of his departure a week ago. An unstable working environment. What do we make of that? This is a hammer blow for England, for Steve Borthwick, especially when you consider and how much of this is the unstable working environment which Felix Jones is apparently supposed to have cited, unconfirmed at this point. The fact that Steve Borthwick, this is not just 1 but 2 elite level coaches that he has now lost from his roster in recent weeks. A couple of weeks ago it was announced that Alan Walters, probably regarded as the best strength and conditioning coach in World Rugby, incredibly highly rated, someone that Steve Borthwick worked with at Leicester Tigers, won a World Cup as well himself with South Africa, just like Felix Jones, who got a couple. He's now gone to Ireland to work with Andy Farrell. And this is less of a story, Tom Tombleson, another strength and conditioning coach, left his role with England as well recently. But that one's much more under the radar. Let me just say what Steve Borthwick said about Felix Jones. This is what he said. I think it was during the Six Nations. He said, and I'm quoting here, "I've seen people who work hard. This guy, though, I don't know if he sleeps. He has the knowledge and understanding. We were sat the other day looking at some stuff on his laptop where he was picking apart the game, an area of the game, and showing me things I don't think I've ever heard any other coach discuss. An incredible work ethic, groundbreaking knowledge. When he presented to the players last week, the room was deathly silent. Well, he's not going to be presenting to the England players in this season ahead. Alid Walters is not going to be overseeing the strength and conditioning of this guy in the weeks and months ahead. There's also, just to highlight the kind of instability that was hinted at with that source quote, the instability. Kevin Sinfield was Steve Borthwick's assistant coach, a role which Felix Jones was elevated to, but Kevin Sinfield stayed within the group. There was some talk of him going to be leaving, and then he was going to be staying. It's hard to know exactly what's going on, and some people have gone, is this a management style issue with Eddie Jones? Eddie Jones, with Steve Borthwick? What's going on? Because Felix Jones was very, very happy in the Springbok camp for I think 6 years. Rassie, who worked with him at Munster, brought him into the fold when he was Springbok coach back in 2018. Won World Cup under their belt, and then on they went to 2023. And just on South Africa for a second, because we've seen some issues with New Zealand, and Razor's kind of was quick to sort of address an issue that he felt was there, as is his prerogative as the head coach. This is not that with Steve Borthwick. This is players leaving the ship. I don't ever sense in the times that I've spent in a room with Steve Borthwick, very serious man, a very process-oriented, driven guy. Don't get any sort of sense that he's erratic or would have any issues with man management. The players speak about him well. So I don't know. Like I say, it feels different from Eddie Jones, but he worked very well with South Africa. And I'm just going to give you one little anecdote. So I was in South Africa a month or so ago for the Ireland Test matches, and I was in a bar in Durban when all of the Springbok coaches were out for a beer or two. A few brandy and cokes were being had as well. And they were in a bar, I forget the name of the bar, but it's the George. It's the George in Umhlanga. And they were in the George in Umhlanga, and I was in there with having a drink with a few people. There was a load of Springbok fans in there. It was a good old jol, as they say in South Africa. And Dwayne Vermeulen was there, and Dan Human was there, and Muzandile Stick was there, and Jaco Piper was there. There were others. Jerry Flannery wasn't there, and Rassie wasn't there. But other than that, it was the whole lot. And they were all having a bunch of drinks, and they looked like they were getting on famously. Two things struck me. The affection that they had for each other. They were just laughing. They really enjoyed each other's company. And secondly, no one bothered them. This was a bar full of Springbok fans. Everyone gave them their space. It really struck me. And I'm only saying that now because I'm thinking about what it must be like being in the England coaching setup. And I don't mean working under Steve Borthwick, or even for that matter, I don't mean working under Eddie Jones. I mean the way the English media are, the way the RFU is, the kind of fishbowl that you're in. It's very different, and it's hard to kind of put your finger on, but I just wonder how much of this is in Steve Borthwick's control, this alleged unstable working environment, and how much is outside of Steve Borthwick's control. I wonder if this might be something to do with the way that the RFU operate. And as an organisation, there's layers of bureaucracy, there's different people who have power and opinion and pull and push. And it very rarely seems like everyone's on the same page. Whereas, and you know, this is something that Eddie Jones battled with. And I wonder, now, taking Eddie Jones's job with Australia aside, although the ARU could be said to be exactly the same, maybe when players left under Eddie Jones, it was always said, oh, this is Eddie Jones, he's a nightmare to work for, he's dreadful. But now it's happening under Steve Borthwick as well. Is it that Steve Borthwick's just like Eddie Jones? I don't personally think so. So I think this might be bigger than any coach, and it might be just due to the organisation itself. And as I say, Eddie Jones, whilst he made some big errors when he was in charge of Australia and seemed a bit belligerent with the media, like the RFU, the ARU seems to be, at times, a bit of a basket case and quite hard to get things right. Whereas, jumping back to South Africa for a second, Rassie is the main man, the only man. He sets the tone and has almost and I don't mean this in a negative way. I was going to say dictator. That's not the word I mean. Kind of like or emperor. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's an autocrat and it's like my way or nothing. But no one. It doesn't appear from the outside like people are meddling from above in the boardroom and all the rest of it. It's like, right, you're our main man. You go and do what you need to do. I think it's quite a different story at the RFU. Although I don't know. I just don't know. All I do know for certain is that Felix Jones will be seriously in demand because he is absolutely awesome. The one thing I would say that might comfort you if you're an England fan like me, I've been thinking about this for a couple of hours now, and I'm thinking, yes, Felix Jones was masterminding that blitz defensive system that actually started to pay off well. It was high risk, high reward, but you were starting to see the fruits of it coming through. The one upside of that is, I would say, I don't think Felix Jones is the only person that could deliver that. I think the blitz defensive system is something that other coaches could pick up and run with, and there'll be many other good coaches that will be able to do a very good job with that. So I don't think my initial thought is, oh, well, that's what a waste of 2023. We just like all the progress we've just made, we're just putting it in the bin, putting it in a dumpster and setting it on fire. I don't think that necessarily is the case, but as Steve Borthwick talked about, there's a whole lot of rugby IQ that is not going to be in that room, and that will come through at times. And when you add Alan Walters to that, it's massive. What's Felix Jones going to do next? That's one of the big questions, isn't it? British and Irish Lions. I've already seen people starting to bubble around going, Andy Farrell will snap him up. No chance. And the fact that Felix Jones will be a free agent now means he could just focus purely on the British and Irish Lions between now and next August. I think that's a very good shout. Very, very good shout. I'd probably, if I was a betting man, I might put some money on that. I could very much see that happening. And that also would buy Felix Jones a bit of time to nail down exactly what he wants to do next. Does he want to be the main man and go to, I don't know, maybe by next August, if after the British and Irish Lions, if Leinster haven't won another title and I've got a trophy in the cabinet, maybe they'll want to make a change, and could it be this guy? Actually, there's one thing you've got to say. Ireland have got some seriously good coaches. Jerry Flannery's just with the box right now, but you've got Ronan O'Gara at La Rochelle, Paul O'Connell involved in the Ireland setup. Maybe, how about this, Ireland? You take all your Irishmen and give us Andy Farrell back. Although I'm not sure Andy Farrell will particularly want to take that gig, so we'll see. Central contracts. Oh, just another thing that just occurred to me. Central contracts have still not been sorted out for the England international players. That was talked about months and months ago. We've had this long-winded process about the professional game agreement between the clubs and the RFU, and as I say, it just feels sometimes like rugby in England can't organise a knees up in a brewery. And has that got anything to do with this Felix Jones departure? Or is there something wrong with Steve Borthwick's management style? Or is there something else going on completely? I've got no idea. I'm going to try and find out, and I'm sure more information will come to light in due course. In the meantime, your thoughts in the comments down below. If you appreciate the rugby content on the channel, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And I'll see you on the next one.